Hello. Hi. It's Friday. Do you guys know that Xbox bought Activision Blizzard? It's crazy. I still can't believe it. It happened on Tuesday. We're going to be mentioning that for like a year. The start of every episode. Just insane. Just insane. A little bit of housekeeping before we move on with the news. If you liked the previous episode with Rami, we're currently in talks to see if he wants to join us once a week as our correspondent on one of the shows. So we hope to have news on that in the future. Might be the first of many correspondents moving forward with JPNN as the show continues to evolve and change. So shout out to everyone for all the great feedback that you had on the most recent episode. We'll see how that goes. And also, I didn't know this was happening. It was one of those things where it just kind of happened. I guess we're on like iTunes and Spotify and like all this stuff. So if you want some audio news, feel free to download JPNN where possible and available. I don't have the full list. I'm not even sure if I was supposed to like tell you guys that that was happening, but there you go. It's out there and it's about there. All right. Anyways, let's move on and get to the actual news. We're still in the process of kind of structuring this stuff, so some of it will seem a little bit out of order in terms of what's bigger news and what's smaller news and where they're actually ordered. But this is just the news as it was given to me without any filter on it. All right? It's almost as if the news has been unfiltered or something. Anyways, GameIndustry.biz has an article in response to a survey where gamers, 56% of Xbox, PlayStation, and PC gamers are interested in earning NFTs. Now, to know what this is, there's a little bit of a clarification in the article that says the Good Gamer Group panel was created by Interpret and comprised of 24,000 players. It is intended to represent the overall gaming market from casual mobile to hardcore PC audiences. The 5,000 member NFT/crypto panel was selected to be representative of that larger panel. Quote, the only criteria to get into the panel is they must be aware of what an NFT is. Interpret is the company. Their senior vice president of growth and innovation, Jesse Divnich, said, it is important that we have people who don't own or don't like NFTs in the panel. We need to track sentiment over time, talk to them, and see what their barriers are, etc. I feel... 53% of those surveys said that being able to earn NFTs was their main point of interest as opposed to collecting, selling, or trading them. The report went on to say that over 45% expressed that earning NFTs as they play would result in them spending more time with games. Building a collection is not the major motivator right now, said Divnich. Gamers are not yet viewing NFTs as they would Pokemon cards or collecting a complete set of similar items. Gamers just want to be able to participate in this new business and engagement model. This all sounds really bullshit to me. It really sounds like an NFT pro group conducted a survey with a bunch of NFT pro people and are just like, look, here's everyone wants an NFT. I don't know. Maybe I live in an echo chamber on Twitch. Probably true. But yeah, Kind of wild. They're really pushing for it. They're really pushing for it. Going back to the Activision acquisition from Microsoft, Sony put out some words, and Phil put out some words against them, or at least in conjunction with them. This tweet came out. Let me just make sure that there's nothing trending that's going to get me in trouble. Okay. Phil Spencer tweeted, "Had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honor all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and our desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship." For now. That's the part that that's the unsaid part. For now. The unsaid part. Yeah. Yeah. Also, I realized that on that Twitter thing, the trending news was, of course, Meatloaf passing away. Not necessarily game industry related, but yeah. R.I.P. Meatloaf. Good stuff. Go listen to some of his songs today if you've never heard them. Dot Esports talking about Activision Blizzard employees voicing concerns about the Microsoft acquisition. Obviously, people are pretty upset about Bobby still being CEO. They can't, legally, they can't really do anything to him, I don't believe. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to 100% state that, but they can't necessarily fire an employee or a CEO or remove a CEO for a company that they don't technically own yet. That whole stuff has to go through. So, yeah. There's a lot of employees that are also worried about the future of their careers, which makes a lot of sense. Totally understand that. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of stories about all of that stuff moving forward. Much like the stories that came out today that Raven Software QA workers announced that they are officially unionizing. They are currently asking Activision Blizzard to voluntarily recognize their efforts. These are the people for Call of Duty Warzone QA over at Raven Software. They are unionizing with the Communication Workers of America, or CWA. The group, called Game Workers Alliance, is the first group of workers to form a unit under Activision Blizzard. Workers are asking the company to voluntarily recognize the union, which has the support of the supermajority of Raven Software QA workers, 78% of the eligible workers, a CWA representative told Polygon, as that's the story that we're following here. These QA workers, had been on strike since early December after Activision Blizzard denied new contracts for 12 members of the QA team. I believe that was when they were let go. The, quote, strike of the several dozen workers, according to the Washington Post, has no end date, and management has not yet responded to worker demands. They put out a statement that says, quote, "Today I'm proud to join with a super majority of my fellow workers to build our union, Game Workers Alliance," Raven Software QA tester Becca Angner said in a news release. In the video game industry, specifically Raven QA, people are passionate about their jobs and the content they are creating. We want to make sure that the passion from these workers is accurately reflected in our workplace and the content we make. Our union is how our collective voices can be heard by leadership. If you want to follow along with that, actually, there is an update to the story. Activision Blizzard has issued a statement regarding the GWA, the Game Workers Alliance. And it reads, Activision Blizzard is carefully reviewing the request for voluntary recognition from the CWA, which seeks to organize around 36 of the company's nearly 10,000 employees. While we believe that a direct relationship between the company and its team members delivers the strongest workforce opportunities, we deeply respect the rights of all employees, this damned cat, under the law to make their own decisions on whether or not to join a union. Across Activision Blizzard, we remain focused on listening closely to our employees and providing the improved pay, benefits, and professional opportunities needed to attract and retain the world's best talent. Over the past couple of years, this has included raising minimum compensation for Raven QA employees by 41%, extended paid time off, expanding access to medical benefits for employees and significant others, and transitioning more than 60% of temporary Raven QA staff into full-time employees. Anyways, good luck to the union. I hope everything works out. And I hope it's the first of many throughout the year. Not just at Activision Blizzard, but within the gaming industry as a whole. Moving forward. PushSquare.com's got a story that says Sony is not making more PS4s to make up for the PS5 stock shortfall. Production was always planned, company says. So you can get off of Twitter and stop, take off your tinfoil hat, maybe feed the cat that needs to be fed, even though it's 4 hours early. And yeah, they're just making consoles because that's what they do. They're in the business of making consoles. It's not to make you buy a PS4 because you can't buy a PS5. Okay? Going along with the report of 56% of gamers are interested in earning NFTs. According to the GDC State of the Game Industry Survey, their report suggests that game developers are not interested in NFTs and cryptocurrency. Right on cue, right when we start recording, we've got a cat chasing a dog and a dog chasing a cat live in my room for all to hear while we deliver the news. Anyways, if you want more on that story, you can go to gamedeveloper.com/GDC or Eurogamer.net as they covered that. These pets are going to give me a heart attack one day. There's a report over at the Washington Post with old Phil Spencer, where Phil was talking about reviving old Activision Blizzard games and clarified Microsoft's statement about how this was about the Metaverse and how Microsoft distinguishes itself from other big tech players. A lot of exciting stuff here in this article over at the old Washington Post. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't already. Gene Park, great game journal over there. Some of the interesting things here. In discussing some of the intellectual properties owned by Activision Blizzard, Spencer's excitement may have mirrored the enthusiasm of a StarCraft player noticing the long dormant franchise's logo in Microsoft's acquisition announcement. I was looking at the IP list, and I mean, let's go, Spencer said. King's Quest, Guitar Hero. I should know this, but I think they got Hexen. We're going to see a lot of stuff, I think, come back under the guidance of Phil Spencer, which is pretty exciting because for the most part, Activision Blizzard was all gung-ho on Call of Duty because that's what made the investors happy. And now they can use some of this IP that they have that Microsoft paid $68.7 billion for, among other things. And we could see some other stuff. It's very exciting to see. Hopefully that excitement is, also shared by the developers that want to work on this stuff. But I'm sure that their worries are currently not necessarily on what IPs they can make and if all this harassment is going to stop. And, of course, if CEO Bobby Kotick is going to be fucking removed. So there was a tweet that a lot of people are blowing up, and I think this kind of has to do with the general pessimistic nature of Twitter and social media and video gamers. But there was a tweet from a industry insider who basically said EA is reportedly very disappointed with how Battlefield 2042 has performed and is, quote, looking at all the options when it comes to the title. This is including looking at free-to-play in some capacity. They said, I will have more on this tomorrow. And then 10 minutes ago, just updated that tweet and said, give me a little bit more time on this. I'm consulting analysts, lawyers, and developers, and it's taking a bit of time to put together. I want to provide answers instead of questions. So you can see why trashing on Battlefield would probably pick up news, but we'll wait to see. I wouldn't be surprised if Battlefield 2042 goes free to play. I think the most recent Battlefield actually overtook the, at one point, it might still be current. But the Battlefield 5 like has more players on it or something like that, according to Steam. So we'll see. We'll see. It's unfortunate because you know, Battlefield's a fun time. I wish it was better. I wish it was better. Square Enix put out a blog of sorts, kind of, for what's coming for 2022. Doesn't really have anything big. There's not really any notable stories in here, but it sure is pretty to look at. We've got Forspoken. We've got the Life is Strange Remastered collection. We've got Babylon's Fall. I'm curious how bad this game's going to do. I'm really curious. I kind of wonder... Not necessarily a true take. I think there is some sort of relationship to how many streamers are doing sponsored streams for a game is somewhat indicative of how bad the game is. So if you see a shit ton of, if you see a massive amount of sponsored streams for Babylon's Fall, it might not be that great. But we'll see. That comes out March 3rd, 2022. We also have Chocobo GP. We've also got Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin. The demo for this is, I've heard a lot of good things about the demos. So we'll see if that comes out and is a good product. That's March 18th. Forspoken, of course, May 24th. I hope this is good. Definitely pretty, for sure. Of course, the Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster is still to come. That got delayed from last year. Outriders, by the way, still a game. They have the World Slayer expansion coming out sometime this year. Star Ocean: The Divine Force. I can't promise a full playthrough, but I can definitely promise a lot of laughter. What the fuck are those shoes? Wild. Wild. So, yeah, there you go. There you go. That's kind of what we got coming up from the old Square Enix. Moving on to more games news, not necessarily industry news. There was a report over at Polygon this morning about the Lego Star Wars Skywalker saga, leading to extensive crunch over at TT Games. I think that game got delayed. The subheadline is that the Lego game studio has spent almost 5 years on its latest project. More than 20 current and former TT Game employees told Polygon that calls for change over the years had largely been ignored. Multiple people who worked at the studio remember breaking down outside of work hours because of the workload and some of the stresses they were under. Quote, it was very soft-spoken blackmail, one of the former employees says. If people don't start doing overtime, there's going to be problems, end quote. Although the problems were never specified. Some former staff even came up with the term to describe their experiences at the studio, referring to them as PTSD. Yeah, so that's not good. We just watched that trailer in trailer time. The game looked great. It's unfortunate that all of this was because of a massive amount of crunch, apparently. If you want to read the full story, it's over at polygon.com. They go into pretty great detail about low morale, overtime, the studio's gender pay gap, and a bunch of stuff. Unreal expectations. It's pretty lengthy. There's a lot there. But, yeah, definitely go check that out if you're at all curious. PlayStation put out a editorial entitled Upcoming PS5 and PS4 games to look forward to in 2022. Let's take a look. Number 1, Horizon Forbidden West. I'm generally looking forward to it. Number 2, 3, and 4, Uncharted Legacy of... Wait. Elden Ring? Put that at number 1. What are you doing here? Dying Light. Man, this is their response. I wonder if this was planned prior to the Xbox thing, or if this was post Xbox. Hard to say. Hard to say. It came out post Xbox, so I guess one could say it's post Xbox. God of War Ragnarok, Gran Turismo 7, Gotham Knights. Wait, that comes out this year? Ooh. There's that Stranger of Paradise again. Ghostwire Tokyo. That should be a lot of fun. We got Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. That's in March. End of March. Rainbow Six Extraction. That just came out. It's not great. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Hope that's great. Stray. That's that cat game. Little Devil Inside. I remember that trailer being pretty sick. Sifu. Comes out next month. Wait, how long is this? Oh, Forspoken. Lord of the Rings Gollum. I forgot that was a game. Yeah, this looks like it was definitely put together in response to the Microsoft thing. But hey, those games are all great, and I'm very much looking forward to most of those games on that list, if not all of those games. Speaking of PlayStation, the PlayStation creator, Kutaragi, basically said he doesn't understand the metaverse and why it's important. The exact quote is, being in the real world is very important, but the metaverse is about making quasi-real in the virtual world, and I can't see the point of doing it. The 71-year-old entrepreneur told Bloomberg News in an interview. We'd rather be a polished avatar instead of your real self. That's essentially no different from anonymous message board sites. Bloomberg has the story on that if you want to go read the entire interview. He also goes on to talk a lot about headsets. The quote being, headsets would isolate you from the real world, and I can't agree with that. Headsets are simply annoying. I bet you PlayStation's over there. Bro, we just talked about PSVR 2. What the fuck are you doing? It's probably how that went down. Meanwhile, also in Japan, Japan's press has apparently played Pokémon Legends. And they say, quote, it's an experience like no other. Recent hands-on reports call it, quote, completely different and, quote, exhilarating. VideoGamesChronicle.com has the story for this. Now, keep in mind that this comes from Famitsu. And if you're not necessarily aware of what Famitsu is, they're kind of owned by the Japanese game industry in a lot of ways. So be careful what you glean from this. Famitsu praised the game for moving the Pokemon series in a new direction, saying, quote, it's safe to say that this game is completely different from previous titles. The first thing that impressed me when I started playing was the exhilarating feeling of moving around freely in the vast field. It feels great just to be able to fly freely in the sky, but it's especially fun to look for Pokemon that look small below you, it said. Game Watch also put out a positive preview saying that the ability to ride Pokemon, quote, strongly matches the world view, making you feel more like you are adventuring in the Pokemon world, which I personally found to be an excellent system. And 4Gamer was impressed by the way the Pokemon each had their own personalities. With the quote being, the Pokemon that appear in the game seem to change depending on the time in the game. And at night, we saw Drifloon and other Pokemon. I said it again. Or I'll say it again. This game's going to sell so fucking many copies. I saw this morning, I woke up this morning and saw someone compare a screenshot of Pokemon Legends Arceus, or Arceus, however you say it, to Oblivion from 2005. Spoilers. Oblivion looked a little bit better. Moving on in the story of today. Guild Wars 2 is apparently betting on bite-sized strike missions, which are raid encounters with the End of Dragons expansion. Strike missions focus on single boss fights with raid-like complexity. Oh, they played Final Fantasy. Okay. They played it. They played the Final Fantasy. Yeah. 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 Jumping into some more random news around the video game world. A former employee at Loft states her experience in a series of tweets at the company and talks about how she was threatened with death and rape. So very extreme series of tweets if you want to go check that out. Not good news out of Gameloft. Eurogamer.net has a story where Assassin's Creed was originally planned to end on a spaceship. In an interview with AC's original creator, Patrice, and AC3's creative director, Alex Hutchison. I guess I'll take a stab at Patrice's last name. Patrice Desolé. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I apologize if not. End on a spaceship kind of makes sense, though, if you think back to what happens at the end of Assassin's Creed 3. I kind of wish they did. Oh, well. The creators of Wallace and Gromit are making a mad open world game. Tech Radar has that story. Troy Baker put out a clarification and an apology after his most recent NFT tweet. I had not seen this yet. Let's take a look. I'll just read it in full and show you. I always want to be part of the conversation, even if that sometimes finds me in the midst of a loud one. I appreciate y'all sharing your thoughts and giving me a lot to think about. Oh, this was on the 14th. Okay. So this was last week, but hey, we didn't cover it. So here you go. We'll cover it a little bit. Appreciate y'all sharing your thoughts and giving me a lot to think about. I'm just a storyteller out here trying to tell my story to whomever will hear it and hoping I can help others to do the same. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm grateful there are those who are passionate about their stance and not only feel safe to express that, but also to have the means to do so. The hate create part might have been a little bit antagonistic. You think? Hope y'all will forgive me for that. Bad attempt to bring levity. Anyway, feel free to resume the conversation or not as you please. I appreciate those with the truth showing it and those support offering it. I think I did read this on air. And those with anger doing their best to express it. I would also say go check out the... there's a podcast, I believe, that Troy was on last week. If you want to hear a little bit more explanation. Or if you don't, that's fine too. That's fine too. Shadow Warrior 3 apparently got a release date via the Xbox Store. It's coming March 1st, 2022. Here's an interesting tidbit. Kotaku apparently... oh, yes, thank you. Internet Plumber in the chat reminded me the name of that podcast that Troy was on was Play, Watch, Listen. So definitely go look that out. Look that up. Check it out if you want to. Get more comments on that. So Kotaku went out and asked Japanese gamers to react to Microsoft's purchase of the Activision IP and brand. Here is the cross section, according to Kotaku, of the reaction on popular Japanese gaming blogs like My Game Newsflash, as well as the country's biggest internet bulletin boards, 2CH and 5CH. I'm probably butchering that. I think these are pretty similar here to American reactions. Whoa, really? That surprised me. There are a bunch of games I'm not interested in, so this is good. What the hell is Sony doing? Well, that's it for Diablo. Microsoft, give us back Diablo. What? An industry destroyer. These are wild times. Sony is finished. This is a huge deal. It demolishes the PS5 stronghold. This is only the beginning of the end. Get ready, Japan. What the fuck? Activision Blizzard fell from grace due to the harassment situation, and Microsoft just bought them. With this, the box wins. So Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass. Well, this is fine. The power of Microsoft's money is awful. They bought sexual harassment. If PlayStation don't get Call of Duty, it's finished. Thank you, Bill Gates. Don't you feel like Microsoft's gaming branch has truly arrived? They're about 20 years late, though. They really want to monopolize the gaming industry. Microsoft loves buying hollowed out companies. Bye-bye Trash Station. Wow. It took me a second there to realize what the fuck he was talking about. Or they were talking about. This is completely wiping out the Japanese game industry. Fix the bugs in Halo. How long does this go on? Microsoft is going to buy Sony Interactive Entertainment. Heck, they might even buy Sony proper. It would have been better to buy Square Enix. How much money do they have? To be honest, it's not worth $70 billion. The PlayStation will lose to Xbox? Next up is EA. The power of Microsoft's money is amazing. This is the death of PlayStation. Farewell, Call of Duty. And with this, the PlayStation is lost. I guess this means Call of Duty fans will abandon the PlayStation? It's just a shell of itself as the talented game creators left due to the sexual harassment issue. You see, chat? They're gamers just like us. Sony is done. I'm guessing Xbox's share will grow. Is anyone with any talent left at Blizzard? This cuts the PS5's lifespan short. Diablo fans are the most happy about this. PlayStation 5. It's okay because we have Gran Turismo. Okay. This has no impact on Japan. That might be the truest statement in that entire thing. Suda51's Grasshopper Manufacture, which of course is his studio, will be doubling in size after the NetEase acquisitions, and they're currently creating a AA original IP on Unreal Engine 5. They're also in discussion with Marvel Studios. What the hell does a Marvel Suda51 game? Oh, Deadpool. Deadpool. That would make sense. That would actually, that in a lot of ways, that kind of makes like beautiful sense. He did an interview with IG in Japan and said, in terms of the kind of things I'd love to do, I'd love to work with a Marvel on a Shatterstar or Deadpool game. Something sort of grasshoppery like that. Maybe a Quicksilver title of some sorts. So, Marvel, you know. Yeah, Marvel, you know. Industry insider Jeff Grubb was out there talking about the idea of having Game Pass on PlayStation and that Sony should welcome it. I actually agree with that statement. I mean, if you want to keep people on your platform, give them the reason why someone else would go to another platform, and it's called Game Pass. I mean, that would kind of be a wild turn of events, but he's actually not wrong. I think that would be pretty pretty interesting. If you really consider Microsoft's history, they're a software company, not a hardware company. And so if they can just start saying, put Game Pass on all these different hardware platforms that they don't make, makes a lot of sense to me. I kind of agree with old Jeff Grubb right there. And another stat-driven story, Video Games Chronicle is saying that the PS5 will outsell the Xbox Series consoles 2-1 this year, according to Ampere Analysis. But the Switch will be 2022's best-selling console, of course, driven by the OLED model. Makes sense. Makes sense. And then we got two rumors here. Don't take these with any value. These are random rumors that we like to throw in here to the end of the show. According to NintendoLife.com, there's a journalist claiming that E3 2022 might just cancel its digital event as well. Neville's excited about that. And then, of course, the other rumor, Diablo 2 Resurrected will apparently require players to log in at least once, or they won't be able to play it offline after 30 days. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. There will be a lot of pushback for that. And have fun. You know, in a lot of ways, if you consider this, Xbox hasn't had to, Xbox has had to deal with, console wars, right? Like PlayStation versus Xbox folks, that conversation on Twitter. But they haven't had to deal with Blizzard fanboys. We all know how that goes. We all have seen that happen over the past 10 years. So congratulations, Phil. You bought those people. That's going to do it for JPNN today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to drop a like, share the news, do what you need to. Make sure to also check us out where, I guess, podcasts are available, because that's a thing now. And stay tuned. We got some more news coming up in terms of where we're taking the show and what the plans are with all that in the coming weeks. All right? That's it. We need to get a new send-off for JPNN. I'll workshop that. For now, though, get out of here. Goodbye. I'm done.